All right. So thank you guys for peeling away some time to chat with us today about the new Run Free app. If you're a Run Free customer, you've probably heard the never ending drone of my voice before. For those of you who haven't been so lucky, my name's Rob Anderson. I'm Chief Operating Officer here at the project. And we are going to go through in the correct direction this time, our new apps. So I want to start by laying the groundwork and talk about some exciting or difficult truths, depending on how you view them. We have this really interesting thing happening in our society where the invention of the internet ecosystem has completely redefined what it means to be a human. This redefinition's a continuous thing. A lot of times you hear consulting firms and the media call it digital transformation. As a key influencer of culture, digital transformation is so definitive that it's actually used to describe our generational divides. Each generation is a certain level of comfort with the digital interaction, and each interacts with the world in very, very different ways. Very interesting times. But one thing's for certain, the world is moving towards digital at a very rapid pace, and there's no sign of slowing down. COVID turbocharged that process, and we all felt it. According to McKinsey, 10 years of e-commerce adoption was compressed into the 3 months following March of 2020. Now, if you look at this graph, you'll see the age demographics of every shopper on the Run Free Project platform in the last year. The vast majority of these shoppers are millennials, with Gen X and Gen Z close behind, and the boomers bringing up the rear. And it may be interesting to ask yourself, is this the same demographic that I see in store? And ultimately, what am I getting at here? The point is this: run specialty retailers like you guys forge your brands around brick and mortar experiences. Smiling faces your customers know, personalized service and expertise, run clubs, events, and all of the carefully curated products that everybody who shops with you trusts you to help them navigate. Essentially, the value of your brand comes primarily from the community that you've cultivated, not just the shoes that you sell. Now, I know you all already know this because most of you put on events to insert your brand into your local community as part of your business model. You can see a couple examples of that here. You know that the infallible truth is that being where your prospects are increases the likelihood that they'll shop with you, and participating in their lives ensures that in their minds, your brand carries value beyond a purchase, hopefully inspiring loyalty. Let's think about digital. As it stands today, e-commerce accounts for about 11% of retail sales worldwide. And according to eMarketer, we should expect that number to jump to 23% by 2022 while continuing to grow. A Salesforce.com survey found that 61% of consumers say they'll do even more online shopping after the pandemic than they did before. In other words, both in demographics and behavior trends, there's a new normal, and your potential customers are increasingly choosing to interact with the brands that they love digitally, and that trend's going to continue to grow. But the most important message here is that the digital experience is so much more than just e-commerce. Think about it. Most of us look to apps as a first stop when we're looking to meet a need. Got to get to the airport? Uber. Need a 55-gallon drum of gummy worms? Amazon. Want takeout? Postmates. The digital experience makes it simple and convenient to interact with brands we love in new and cool ways. That's why we love it so much. And moving forward, consumer behavior will tend towards the conveniences that digital experiences provide too. That doesn't mean they'll do all their buying online, but it does mean that 9 times out of 10, if you make it easy for them to sign up for your pint night runs in the same app that they buy their gear, you'll have a higher engagement rate, more brand loyalty, and more of their wallet share, not to mention access to a broader marketable audience. The reality is that effectively serving customers in the short and long term is going to require the adoption of technology throughout the customer experience, not just the shopping journey. And that's where Run Free comes in. At its most basic, we provide Run Specialty retailers with an easy-to-use, affordable platform designed specifically for the industry with all the tools you need to maximize your customers' digital experience in an easy-to-use package. This includes an e-commerce platform that a lot of you are very familiar with, which fully integrates with your point of sale system so you don't have to worry about entering orders or keeping inventory up to date in two places. It also includes an app that we're going to discuss today that your customers can download from the Apple App Store and Google Play for Apple and Android devices to shop, browse, and sign up for events, while also giving your customers the ability to earn rewards when they attend those events or buy new gear, even when they run. Now, most of you know about our e-commerce solution, and while e-commerce is an extremely exciting concept, apps are what we're here for. Apps are the cornerstone of the vision of the Run Free project, and they have been since the beginning. An app gives your customers access to so many of the aspects of your brand that make you unique, valuable, and worth investing loyalty in, just like the apps you use every day. Mobile users spend 87% of their time in apps, where, by the way, they're permanently logged in, which, according to MasterCard research, reduces card abandonment rates by up to 30%. An app also has a permanent space on a device. It lives in your customer's pocket, so your storefront, your shop news, your events, and your customers' rewards are literally a single tap away. Not to mention, apps give you the ability to send notifications, which have substantially larger engagement rates than traditional calls to action like email and social media. Apps are the future, and we're bringing them to you. So how does all this work? Well, the app is available in two flavors. The first flavor is what we call the standard offering. Your customers will go to the Apple App Store or Google Play and download the Run Free Project app. When they open the app, they'll be prompted to choose your store. And from then on, anytime they open the app, it'll be branded with your logos and colors in much the same way the e-commerce platform is today. The second option is what we're calling the custom branded app. This app will technically contain the exact same functionality as the standard app, but it'll be entirely branded for your store only. This means in the app stores and when your customer opens the app, it's dedicated to you. So instead of searching for the Run Free Project app when they go to the app store, they'll search for the Red Coyote Running app or Runners Forum app or whatever, enter your store's name here. So it makes it a seamless experience with your brand. Now, the reason for the price difference is the development and management overhead involved. With the standard app, every time Apple releases a new version of their operating system or adjusts their privacy requirements, our developers have to make changes to a single app's source code. A very hands-on style of management in and of itself. But when you have the custom branded app, we're submitting the app code to the app stores on your behalf. We're designing all the iconography, listings, and graphics for you. And most importantly, when Apple updates its operating system or Google makes a platform change, our developers make changes to each custom branded app separately, submit each individually to each app store for review, and maintain the separate code bases of each. It's a much bigger job on our side. And it's worth mentioning, and a lot of you have done this, if you were to go out and have someone develop an app for your store with similar functionality, you'd pay tens of thousands of dollars to get it built and running. Then you'd have to shell out hundreds or thousands of dollars a month to a developer to keep it functioning in the app stores, because those environments and their requirements change regularly. If those apps aren't updated, they get booted from the app stores. By developing a customizable platform that you subscribe to in the same way that you do with our e-commerce solution, if you're an e-commerce customer, we're able to offer you all the advantages of a custom-built app at a fraction of the price by distributing that cost of all the upkeep amongst everyone who is a member of the project. Now, as with all of our other products, there are no contracts that lock you in. But when you sign up for either version of the app, we're asking for a 3-month commitment, with billing kicking off at the beginning of the onboarding process. And this is because there's a lot of upfront development effort that has to take place to get you plugged into the platform and deployed in the app stores, whether you're going with the custom branded app or the standard app. The workflow is similar. So it's a little bit different than the rest of the platform. but you are not tied in to a contractual agreement beyond that 3-month commitment. Now, before we get to the good part and demo the app for you, there are a few key concepts that I'd like to highlight. I want to plant these in the back of your mind as you think through what we've built. First, developing and maintaining apps and developing and maintaining websites are extremely different endeavors, even though they may seem similar on the surface. When it comes to app, the code that we create is built specifically for each environment. When I say environment, I'm talking about Apple iOS and Google Android. And then we have to submit the code to the app stores where they'll review and test the code to ensure that it meets their standards, which are quite different between the two environments. Then they'll approve or reject the app source code. If they approve it, the app will be posted to the app stores for your customers to download. If they reject it, it comes back to us where we'll have to make adjustments, resubmit, and hope for the best. This process is the same for each custom branded app we deploy as well. So if 3 stores choose the custom app, we'll have to follow this process 3 separate times anytime we make a change or anytime Google or Apple makes a change to their environments. To top it off, anytime one of the environments change, let's say Apple releases a new version of iOS, or it's just a privacy update, we have to resubmit the apps for approval. So it's a great deal of overhead. Now, we're going to manage all this for you, and we're happy to do it. So why am I telling you all this? Well, because websites and web applications like the Run Free e-commerce platform are a whole lot simpler to deploy. In contrast, we create one code base and the environment's always the same. The environment's the internet. So we have the freedom to deploy instantly without anyone's approval but our own, and your e-commerce sites can be updated in an instant in this case. This ease of deployment on the internet is what lets us cycle through platform updates so fast. Now, as you know, and as we always say, our platform and everything that's a part of it has a roadmap that's dictated by our stores. That's not changing. That will never change. But I'm showing you the differences here because the speed at which we can deploy app changes and functionality is slower than that of web applications like the e-commerce platform. And the upkeep for these apps is significantly more expensive from a resources and time perspective. In other words, while we will always be improving, you can expect that the updates to the app functionality will take a bit longer and require a bit more behind the scenes stuff than the rest of the platform. Hope this helps illustrate some of the factors that determine the pricing as well. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is our development philosophy. We're agile practitioners, and as such, we take a minimum viable product or MVP approach to development. So what does that mean? Well, this silly illustration does a bit of a better job than my blathering at elucidating it, but in the classic development style, software creators would try to develop the end product with every feature and function that could ever be considered and refuse to release any workable version of that product until it was all complete. So in the example you see here, using that classic development style, the customer needs a vehicle to get them from point A to point B, so the developer sets out to build them a car. Unfortunately, that process is complex, takes a really long time, and the customer spends a lot of that time frustrated without a means for transportation before something is delivered to them. In contrast, a minimum viable product approach takes the customer's requirement, in this case, the need to get from point A to point B, and meets it with the basic solution. While the customer uses the basic solution, the creator's busy building on top of that foundation. And with the customer's input from their experience, releases iterative versions, and the cycle continues in rapid succession until the perfect product's realized. Now, of course, the reality is that there's no such thing as a perfect product, but the idea is that if a developer can release basic functionality and build on that rapidly, they can innovate faster and provide better value to the customer in the process. That's what we shoot for. Now, most of you guys who are customers of ours today have been experiencing our MVP philosophy through the use of the e-commerce platform since its inception. We're always building newer, cooler stuff on top of the stuff we had before and cycling it out to you guys to use, then taking your feedback. This will also be the experience with the apps. So as we walk through the use and function today, keep in mind that what we're showing you is by no means the end of the line. It's actually the very beginning. There is so much that we can do with this innovation. And we're going to continue to build on this minimum viable product in perpetuity to make sure that you guys, you and your customers, are getting from point A to point B in style. Now, Another important concept, and I promise I'll shut up soon and get to the demo. Another important concept that I need to touch on is one that I like to call wizardry. And it's really about setting realistic expectations. See, we put a monumental amount of effort into automating the nearly impossible and building simple ways to accomplish big, complex things. That we pride ourselves on that. If we make it easy to do really crazy things, it's super cool. In a lot of cases, the simplicity of your experience as the user can mask the enormous complexity of the inner workings of a function of one of our products. And as a result, some of our users believe anything is possible. We take that as a compliment. Unfortunately, some also think that anything less than their specific expectation is failure. Now, I'm exaggerating to a point. None of you are that unreasonable, but there are limitations to what we're able to accomplish, especially when it comes to relying on other very complex systems to play nicely. Think about it like this. Whenever we design a platform feature, we have to design it in such a way that it can be implemented and expressed in the same fashion using the three separate and very different point of sale systems that we integrate with. This is especially true outside of the e-commerce space in the new world of app land. What we're building here is brand new. It's never been done. And the wizardry it's required has been nothing short of sensational, which you'll see in a couple of minutes. But there are some constraints that are unavoidable. And we're asking that you keep this in mind as we go along and continue through that MVP development process. So what does the app do exactly? Well, think of it as a doorway to your store on every one of your customers' devices. When your customer opens the app, they'll have a dashboard where they can view their world within your store and your brand. While you have a single unified customer record across our platform, whether that's on the e-commerce side or the app. This home screen will provide lots of useful information to the customer, things like rewards points that they've accumulated and miles they've logged, with a news and events timeline below. Obviously, your customers can shop in the app, and the shopping experience will be identical in functionality to the Run Free-based online store that you have today, i.e. automatically logging customers into the platform, syncing your orders and inventory in Rick's, Heartland, or Lightspeed. So you're not losing any functionality there. And it is nice because if you're using Run Free as your e-commerce provider, your customer is already logged in. They don't have to log in twice. Now, when your customers shop, both online and in store, they'll accumulate rewards. They'll also accumulate rewards when they sign up for and attend events, which is a function of the app as well. Your customers also have the option of connecting their Strava account to earn miles, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means in a second. Now, if you use a competitor's e-commerce solution, you can still take advantage of everything the Run Free app has to offer. As a caveat, there may be additional steps, such as requiring the customer to log in when they want to shop, that might be required of your customers if you are using a competitor's solution. And there may be additional management considerations depending on the vendor that you use. But you heard that right. You don't have to be a Run Free Project e-commerce customer to take advantage of the Run Free Project app, even though we would love it if you were. Now, before I hand the mic over to Dave to walk you through a demo of the app, I'd like to touch on the differences between rewards points and miles real quick. In the app, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying this. Rewards points accumulate when purchases are made or when events are participated in, and you will set all the parameters. And Dave will show you some of the details of this. The rewards point mechanism is a great example of many of the concepts that I just discussed. This version is a minimum viable product, and it'll evolve with your feedback and innovations from the POS providers. It's also a great example of wizardry, because each POS highly constrains how rewards can be logged, used, and stored. But we've managed to develop a service that works with all of them and automatically calculates points for in-store purchases too. In contrast, miles reflect the amount of walking, running, or hiking the customers log in Strava. They aren't linked to shopping or events, but you can customize achievement levels and notifications, which Dave will talk about in a couple of minutes. Why did we make it this way? Well, we purposely segregated the two accumulation methods to reduce the potential of fraud. So, for example, if miles and rewards were the same thing, then I could turn on my Garmin watch and drive around the neighborhood, accumulate a whole bunch of points, and then get a whole bunch of free stuff for your store from your store. We don't want that to happen. And we also wanted to extend the mileage accumulation as a separate feature so that you can make the call on how you approach your customer base. If you've got an extremely active customer base, then, putting a heavy focus on miles accumulation and achievements might be a really good idea. If you have an older population, or if you have folks who are just getting started with, jogging, running, or walking, you might see that as a detractor, and you don't have to use it. But regardless, they are separate functions, and you can use them as such. And Dave will do a much better job of telling you with far fewer words. So enough of my blathering. Let's get to the demo. First, Dave's going to walk you through the baseline app features and functionality. Dave?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Sweet. Let me toggle to our virtual iPhone here. Can you see the iPhone?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob, for going through all that. And you did an awesome job, as always, with the introduction portion. So for the demo, we're actually going to do two things. We're going to go through what the customer's experience is like on the phone, and then we're going to show you how easily you can manage your portion of it. One of the things that I was noticing when Rob was going through stuff is that it sounds like, because on the technical side, we're doing so much to set up your app. From the store's perspective, there isn't a lot that you have to do on your side, short of setting your rewards levels and a couple other things in the platform. So the effort on your part isn't huge. It's more of the development effort on our side to get them submitted in the App Store. And you'll see how easy that is in a minute. So for the purposes of the demo, we're going to use an iPhone, and the app comes in the two different flavors, the Run Free app and then the Custom Rewards app. In this example, I'm going to jump into the Run Free app, but it's already going to have the store selected. So it's going to basically mirror what it would be like if I clicked on the Red Coyote app or the Tortoise and Hare app. The first couple screens are an introduction to them. They're kind of like splash screens. They're only going to see them once when they log into the app for the first time. And it goes through a nice little animation that basically explains to them that they can earn for running, shopping, and other activities like attending events. The beauty behind this is it's the same login they already have for your online store. So if they're already a customer, they can click log in and they can log right in just by using their email address and password. If they're a new customer, they can go through and put in their information. We collect a little bit more here. So we collect a phone number so they can get their password recovered via text message. And we also collect their birthday so they can get some automatic rewards on their birthday that you can set as well. You also have some things in here. I mentioned the password recovery, so they can reset their password for the e-commerce store right here, either via phone or via email. So that's all pretty easy. So for this example, I'm just going to log in since I already have an account. And we land on our dashboard. So when a new customer logs in for the first time, obviously they wouldn't have a photo yet, but this is the main dashboard where they're going to get an overview of everything they have going on. And I'm going to walk through some of the main pieces of it, and then we'll hop around for a minute. So starting up at the top, they have their actual name that they use when they signed up for the platform. They have a photo that they can add. They have a little badge here, and the badge is their rewards level. And you'll see there's a little display down here that has the different reward levels, and it has the different numbers you need to hit those different levels. The beauty of this is you get to set this yourself in the platform. So you can make up any names you want that suit your store. It could be modified JV varsity or bronze, silver, gold, and you can pick the color. So you get to choose what levels and the point totals you want people to hit in order to reach those, and you get to customize messages that go to them when they hit those levels. You'll also notice that it has the overall lifetime points listed and the amount they need to get to the next level. And then up here is their redeemable points. So in this example, Jeremy gave me a whole bunch of points, so it looks like I have a lot. Realistically, some people would probably have a couple hundred points here. But we wanted to show you what it looks like when there's a bunch. So I can take those points and redeem them. and we'll go through what that looks like in a second. On the other side is the miles, and that is done by linking to Strava, and we'll talk about that in a second too. There's really 3 different ways that someone can earn through the app. One is attending events, and you have a ton of customization on what you can do for those, and we'll show you how that works in a sec. One is by shopping, and as we said before, that's for in-store or online shopping. And then the last one is for logging miles. And as Rob said, it's a little bit different because we don't want those miles to translate into dollars or points. So miles can be used a little bit differently, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Also at the bottom is a nice area for news. The cool thing about these guys is you can set up as many of them as you want, and you can set them to expire. And it's as simple as uploading a photo and adding text in the platform. And you can post for anything you want. So you can call out a new training program. You can call out a race. You can link to gift cards. You can use them for anything, and you can have them be unlimited. So it's up to you. The nice thing about this is that means one icon away is news from your store that's specifically in its own little e-commerce domain right on their phone. I'm going to walk through events first, and then we'll talk about e-commerce and miles, and then I'll show you some of the other features of the app. All of these options are available on the dashboard, but they're also available along the bottom. So you have the dashboard icon, events, shopping, and then you can also jump to rewards. So we're going to start off with events. So events is cool because we give a nice little image preview that you upload for what the event is. We give the date and time, the title of the event, and a little description, and then the point total. And not only can they view upcoming events, they can also look at past events, and they can even mark them as favorites. So if you have a long list of events and they say, oh, I want to do this marathon in October, they can come look at the event and add it to their favorites. Inside the actual event itself, there's a whole bunch of good information. There's the photo, there's the date and description, there's the location, there's a map preview, and they can get directions to the event just like they can get directions, and it takes them right into their apps or their phone's map, and they can get directions that way. If it's a event that has a registration that's involved, we're not trying to recreate the registration process at this point. So if you use Run Sign Up for all of your events, that's fine. You can add a link for Run Sign Up, and it'll take you right to Run Sign Up so they can sign up for the event. If it's within the event's check-in window, and I'll show you that in a minute, they can check in using their phone. And the reason they want to do that is they can get points. So let's look at what one of those looks like real quick. So I made this event be today, and it has a check-in window. So you'll notice when I come look at the event's information, there's a little button that says check in. You have the option to let them check in 2 different ways, and you can toggle this on or off. You can let them check in using their location. So it's going to use the radius around the address you put in, and if they're within that radius, it will check them into the event. Or as a fallback, you can also let them use their phone's camera to check in with a QR code. And we take care of all of that for you as well. So we have a printable QR code for that specific event that you can generate in the platform and print out and stick on a table at the event so someone can scan it if they want to. You also have the ability for those that are technically challenged on their phones, and we all know those people exist, that you can check them in for the event if you want to as well. So if someone comes into the store and says, my old iPhone didn't work well, or I couldn't figure it out, you can manually check them in too. Also included is the event waiver, and it's optional. So if you don't fill it out, you don't have to have it, but if you want to, you can add an event waiver for the event. So by checking in, they're automatically accepting the terms and conditions of the waiver. We think that that is all pretty cool. There's even some advanced things like reoccurring events. So if you wanted to have a pint run every Tuesday of the month, you add it once and it will set them all up for you, or it can be a one-time event. And you're in full control of how many points you want to offer for these because you control your point system. And we'll show you how to manage that in a second. So that's pretty much the gist of events. Let's look at shopping for a minute. So when you click on the shopping tab, you have your normal e-commerce store, but it's inside of the app. And the beauty of this is it's the same shopping experience. So they can go through and they can check out and buy things the same way as always. They can refresh the page and go forward and back. They can even leave and come back and it'll still be on that same page. So it's like having your e-commerce store on their home screen of their phone all the time and they're already logged in. That pretty much covers events and shopping, which brings us to reward points. So in this case, If I click on rewards, I'll see my total lifetime points, and I'll see my redeemable points, and I'll see a list of all of the points that I've gotten and what I've gotten them for. And they'll show up for some different things. It'll say if they redeemed it for points, it'll show up there. If you adjusted it for some reason for them and added or removed points, it'll show up. If they purchased something in store or online, it will show up. And if they checked into an event, it will show up as well. And they all have individual icons and colors, so it's very easy to sort and look at. And the beauty of this is it's also inside of the platform, so you can look at it there as well. So let's talk about how you would redeem points. So say I had all of these points that I wanted to redeem. When you click redeem, it pops up a nice little fake looking credit card, which essentially is your rewards card for the store. And it says the total number of points that I have available. It's my store's logo, it's my name. And I get to pick how many points I want to redeem and how many dollars I want that to be worth. And I get to set this in the actual platform itself, and it's super easy. So if I wanted my point values to be larger, I could, or if I wanted them to be smaller, I could do that as well. So you have full control over the number of points that are assigned. Redeeming one is as easy as tapping on it, and it pulls up a nice little notification and says, are you sure you want to redeem 100 points for a $5 gift card to Red Coyote? Yes, I do. Say okay. And it's now created that gift card. When that happens, it's going to do two things. It's going to automatically create that gift card code as a credit in your POS system, just like it would with a gift card online. It's also going to make it so that they're going to get an email with that gift card code to redeem it in store. Or if they want to, they can pull it up on their phone and come and copy the code right here and plug it right in under the shopping tab and use that gift card right now. So it makes it pretty easy for them to redeem. Their full history is stored, and you can see their history when you pull up their customer record or go to the redemptions area on the platform, which I'll show you in a minute. So that's the gist behind points. Let's talk about miles for a second. So as we described, we wanted miles to be a little bit more limited, where you could use them if you want to, or it could just be a way for people to track their miles. And another fun thing about the app. And it's as easy as adding their Strava connection. So if they have the Strava app installed, when they click connect, it's going to pull up that and ask permission. Otherwise, it's going to pull up a web browser and they're going to sign in that way. And once they're signed in, it's going to pull their miles for any walking, running, or other event types like that. It'll pull the title of the event, it pulls the mileage, and it also pulls the date and time. And they'll see a scrolling list of that. How you reward them for those miles is completely up to you. And we'll talk about that in a second when we get into the actual management of the app itself. There's a couple other things that are hidden under this little menu icon over here that aren't used as often, but I'll go over them real quick. One is the profile. So they have the ability to change their password right here, edit their phone number, change their birthday, or even change their profile photo. So they can do all of that themselves right inside of the app. It also has built in a nice little FAQ area, and this pulls from a new area that's going to be on your Run Free platform. It's a new content area, so you can do an FAQ specifically for your rewards program and how you have it set up. There's also some support settings. So if you want, they can leave feedback if they want to and send in feedback to the app for what they like or what they don't. And there's also an area for them to email you if they have a question, or to view your terms and conditions, which are also taken care of and linked to right on the Run Free platform. The one other cool thing that's kind of nestled in here is what a lot of us like, and I know Rob loves dark mode. So there is a full dark mode for the app. So if you're someone that likes to keep all of your apps in dark mode so it doesn't strain your eyes, the app is fully functional in dark mode as well. So that is a super quick overview of the app itself. So let's pause there for a second, and I'm going to reshare my screen, and I'm going to show you how do you manage all of this stuff. Well, the beauty is it's pretty easy to do. So some of you might have noticed in the last day or two, we pushed a new release that changes the header bar of the platform a little bit if you're a current e-commerce customer. And previously, we had managing inventory and customers and orders, but now we have a new area called loyalty. And it's broken down into a couple different sections. It's where you manage your rewards program, where you can manage redemptions and view who's redeemed reward points. You can manage your miles program, you can add events, and you can add news. So I'm going to walk through these real quick, and then obviously if we have questions and stuff, we can go over that. Managing rewards is pretty simple. We have 5 different levels, and you can set them at anything you want. So this is where you would enter your newbie, bronze, silver, gold program names. You can set your point thresholds, and you can pick a color, and the color is the badge number that will show up. You can also enter a message that will be sent to them via email when they hit a certain reward level. So when they hit level gold, it'll send out an email with a cool little emoji that says, congratulations, you've hit this level. And if you want to, you can include other stuff in here. So if you want to give them a free t-shirt in store when they hit a certain level, you can include that information on how to do that. Or if you want to include a coupon code because they've hit a certain level to buy something extra in the store, you can do that as well. So you have full control over that. There's also a recent rewards history. And in this case, it's just me because this is a test account, but it will show the rewards history for everybody in the store. And I will show you in a minute what it looks like for an individual as well, but you're able to actually track and see who's earning rewards in the scrolling list. In regards to redemption, and this is that pop-up we saw before with the fake-looking credit card, you can set the point value and the dollar value. So if you want 300 points to equal $1, you can do that. You can change them to anything you want, and this is where you set that. It will automatically push it to the app. You can also view redemption and see the gift card code and filter by name. So if someone comes into the store and Susie Smith says, I can't find my gift card code, you can come in here, type in her name, and it'll automatically filter it and pull up her gift card code so you can use it in your POS system. Managing mileage is a little bit different. So we set up different levels, and you can control the levels. If you want to, you can just put in a simple message that sends out the email that says, congratulations, you've hit this many miles, keep up the great work. Or same thing as the rewards levels. If you wanted to give out a free 500-miler t-shirt, you could say, stop in store and show us your phone, and you can get the t-shirt. Or if you want to create a gift card code that's sent to them when they hit that mileage level, you can do that too. So there's a lot of flexibility, but they can't scam the system and turn it into actual points or cash, but it still keeps the fun of being able to track miles. You can also view recent mileage achievements for everyone, so you'll have a big scrolling list of that, and you can filter that as well, and you'll be able to view individual miles in the customer area, which I'll show you in a second. Managing events. This is the fun one, and probably the one that has the most detail for it. So if we come and look at one of these events, there's a lot of information you can put in here, but the cool thing is you can enter it all within a couple minutes. Since most of you use Run Signup, when I was adding these in for Red Coyote, I was mostly just copying and pasting the info that you already have set up for Run Signup. So you can enter an event name, you can enter that optional URL to Facebook or Run Signup or wherever the event signup is, if there is a signup. You can set the date and time and the time zone. And you can also set a check-in window. So if you only want them to be able to check in from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m., you can do that. Or if you want to let them check in an hour before or 2 hours after, you can do that as well. There's an area for uploading images. So that's that featured image that we talked about. You can set the individual point value for the event. So if it's a large event and you want to really reward people for coming to it, you can do a higher point value. Or if it's a smaller event or it's reoccurring, you can set a lower point value. In regards to location, it's super simple. You can put in a name for the location and you can put in an address. So if you're meeting at a certain place in the middle of a park, you can put in the address and say the name of the park. And just below that, you can dial in the check-in settings. So if I want to allow GPS check-in, I can set a radius and toggle that on or off. And the same thing with the QR code for the manual check-in. And it's as simple as clicking print, and it prints out the QR code, and you can bring that paper with you and people can scan it with their phone to check in. Additionally, these nice WYSIWYG editors, you can still go in and add as much info about the event as you want, including links to other things. And you can update a specific event waiver for that event. So when they check in, they're automatically accepting the waiver. There's a ton of stuff we'd like to do with events. Again, going back to that MVP portion that Rob was talking about, this is the minimum that we wanted to include to get out the door. There's a lot of other neat stuff that we think that we can do with events. So there should be some more cool features coming down the road with this as well. News is also managed under this tab, and it's pretty easy as well. And it consists of a photo, a title, and the content, and you can also set an expiration date for it if you want it to auto remove on a certain date. So managing news and news posts is very easy to do and only takes a couple seconds, and you can send out a news post to all of your customers that have the phone app. So the beauty behind this from the source perspective is the amount of data that you now have on your customers. So when I go to a customer view now, there's a whole lot more information. We've always had their name and their email and their phone number, but now we have their in-store order history, their online order history, their birthday, the amount of rewards, their amount of mileage. You can see when they ran, you can see what items they viewed, and you can see what events they attended. So the overall view of the customer, their shopping habits, and even how many miles they might have since their last shoe purchase is all available in the customer view. So it provides a lot more insight and details. One of the things that Rob just mentioned is if you were migrating from another reward system and you had a rewards total for other customers, you can make adjustments for any customer you want, and you can add or remove points and put in a reason note. So ostensibly, you could add a list of these are the number of points, these are the customers' names, and you could go through and apply those. So adjusting them outside of the app is very easy on your side, and it shows up like a little adjustment right here.
Yeah, we're really excited about this part because there is, kind of like the events piece, there's just so much that we can do down the road with customer specific targeting and all that stuff. Really exciting. Thank you everybody for joining us. We're really excited about this phase of the project. To be frank, this is what we started this company to do. And we can't wait to work with you guys on this stuff. So if you are interested, hello@runfreeproject.com, runfreeproject.com/apps, or hit us in the platform chat and we'll get you going.